You can join me on stage. Clement and Frederic, please come join me on stage. Guys, I think another, like this time, like a proper round of applause, please. Like, let's put some elbow grease on that. Thank you very much. We're going to open it up for questions as well. I'm sure you're burning to ask some of the questions in terms of the practical applications. I think what the gentlemen have done very well is to bring it back home and give you case studies. Are there any questions up front that anybody's burning to ask? Okay, there's a burn here.
Thank you for allowing me to break the ice in terms of asking the questions. So I'm opening up a way for other people to do or follow me. As I'm listening from, actually I'm coming from Harvest of Hope, one of the emerging farmers in Khayelitsha. That's me. As I was listening from your opening remarks and so forth, your main study or research is based out of South Africa. As you mentioned, Uganda and the others. My question is, why is it like that? That's my first one. And on your recommendation, in conclusion, you made mention the issue of rural areas, which is also one of the areas is being neglected, because most of the people, they are not giving any eye or any kind of support of what is taking place over there. Also, the research on the emerging farmers. I think emerging farmers are doing wonders in terms of production so far as crop is concerned. Out of difficulties, but they can come up with good quality food. You mentioned also the issue of shelf life. I think you need to go deeper in there, because we are what we eat. The food that stays longer on those shelves, they have direct impact on our health system. So you need to dig more on that area. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me start. So the issue is that when we were working on these slides, we had a meeting with Ian and Kurt, and from there we understood the scope that we're supposed to bring out here, because food systems is too big. So we were made to understand that we are supposed to focus not on the production side as such, but on the food itself. So when looking at AI, the first part of our presentation, we presented 7 examples of where AI is applied in food systems. And when we were preparing, we decided to look at the global south. That is all the countries that are actually developing. Because if we narrow down the scope too much to only South Africa, we will not have the opportunity to learn from what is happening in the other parts. And there is a high likelihood that what is happening in the South African space, maybe people are already aware of it. But when we broaden the scope, then it means it gives us an opportunity to look at what is happening in Kenya, what is happening in India, what is happening in Indonesia, what is happening in the Caribbean, in Ghana, and all those places. The main aim is that from what is happening across the global south, what are the lessons that we can learn and implement here in South Africa? Because if it is happening in Kenya, if it is happening in Ghana, among low-income people, then there is a high likelihood that it can be implemented here in South Africa. So that was the whole motivation. Thank you.
Thanks. I think most of what you said were, yes, comment and recommendation. But yes, this aspect of project mostly predominant. Okay, he said why we chose to do it like that. But actually there are also some projects in South Africa. There are some companies, there are some research projects that are happening in the arena of AI in food systems, It's just that there's a limited time that we couldn't really look at all of those things. There are like a company here in Cape Town called iRobotics. They've been doing many things, like really helping farmers in optimize, they take drone photos, and they can give you recommendation what you should do, maybe where you should put fertilizer and so on, or which area in your plantation has need maybe more water and those kind of things. There's work like that is really happening in South Africa. But I think this just gives maybe a big picture of what's possible with these technologies. And but when you take a closer look, I think there are things happening that we also don't know of, definitely. And
Cool. I think one of the cool things working in the food ecosystem and being a recovering tech bro is that prior to AI, we had the internet, essentially, as we all know it, right? The cool thing about the internet, it aggregated or democratized information. I hate that word, democratizing information, because the people who say it are always the monopoly of it. You know, it's like one of life's perverse ironies, right? But it did, to a large extent, democratize information. If you wanted to find out about something, you could go on Google. My plant is doing this, my cow is doing this, and then there will be some knowledge as to what to do or what that is, right? So some sort of diagnoses. But where the internet was falling flat, it didn't have intelligence. In other words, you still needed to be a doctor or a trained person if you were double-clicking into a speciality. You needed to know basically how to apply that knowledge that you were getting back from the screen, right? So, because knowledge without knowing how to apply it, you could still get the thing wrong, if you get what I'm saying. Where AI is changing that, and this is where the game changer happens, is all of a sudden, theoretically, it's going to democratize intelligence. Now, I don't have to have studied agronomy or medicine. Okay, I'm stretching it, but you get my point. Is that typically now you can literally point your phone at a problem and say, what should I do? And it should not only just give you the knowledge, it should tell you how to apply that knowledge. And to me, if you're an informal farmer or smallholder farmer, or as long as you obviously have access, that is a game changer. You don't need a specialist necessarily to help you. And I say this intentionally because AI right now is the worst it's ever going to be. So think about that. So if it's a bit dodgy and it's a bit suspect, this is the worst it's going to ever be. And it's exponentially improving. And the problem with explaining exponential to people, most people don't get it because we think linearly. We think 1 + 1 + 1. But technology does this. It learns on itself, and therefore it gets better, right? Now, that was a long soliloquy to, to basically say, the people are in this room, we want them to leave with practical, tangible things that they can start working on today and tomorrow. What would be your advice? How do they learn more? What do they do? How do they engage? How do they share knowledge amongst themselves? And how do they improve their knowledge?
Well, I think it's a difficult question.
Yes, that's why I asked.
Because I think people came from all walks of life. That is to say, some people maybe are farmers, some people maybe are in the retail industry with different backgrounds. But what I can say is that learning is a process. It is a continuous thing. So with what you are learning from here right now, starting from the morning and then through to what we have presented now, we actually leave our slides here and actually also our contact information there. And we are of the view that when information is cast like this, when people are coming from diverse background, what one picks is different from what another person picks. It's just like in church, that when somebody has preached, the other person comes out with what he heard from one verse, another one comes with what they heard from another verse. When they are talking to say, oh, did you hear this? Then this person said, no, I didn't. I said, but he said it. And this one said, but I also heard this. Did you hear this? He says, no. But he also said, but you also didn't get it. So everyone gets that which maybe is applying to themselves. So from here, I'm sure that very likely you have picked something that is very relevant in your space. So what I would say is that going forward, there is a lot of resources at your fingertips that you can play with. The easiest thing to play with is maybe ChatGPT and tools like Cloud that are available just when you click. They are just like when we go on Facebook. I don't know how many people are on Facebook here, but these tools are there. So you can even ask questions there based on what we have spoken here to say, so how can I apply this in my problem? Then it will begin to give you answers. And when it begins to give you answers, from the answer that it gives you, you can continue asking it more. And it's not a place like to teach people prompt engineering for large language models. But the thing is, when you ask these models a question and it gives you an answer, then from that answer you ask it for more. You begin to discover that the smartness and the sharpness of the answers that come out begin to become more and more relevant to what you want. If it answered in that direction, then you can ask it to say, no, I don't mean that. I want you to explain like this. So when you do that, then it helps you to learn. And when you learn like that, then you can actually keep what you have gotten from there and build on that into maybe some very specific problems that you face in your area of work. Because I might not be able to kind of like tell you some specifics of what you face, but when you go using these tools, you will be amazed by what they do. I have been in the universities for long, but sometimes when I decide to go there and say, okay, let me try to find out what is happening in this field. Then I talk, it talks back, then I see that, oh, I think there is this stuff that I didn't know before. So all I can say is that be open to continue learning and testing things. Make mistake on that, those tools, nobody sees it, but then from there you grow, and then that's the way we go. Thank you.
Well, I don't have much to add to that, but maybe one thing. So these tools are being developed, and they're coming. It will really boil down to how we use them. It can be useful for us if we use them, depending on how we use them. Some are maybe at early stage of development. Some of them are probably coming soon. But maybe this interaction should really give us a foundation or improve our awareness that these tools are actually another side to what we call AI. And especially this is the relevance they have in our area of work, in food systems. Everybody eats food, so we all interact with basically food systems. We are stakeholder in that area. So there's issues about, of course, the data and the effectiveness of these tools and so on. But we need to maybe the attitude we would or should have towards these tools and so on and so on. We interact with these tools. They're useful in certain ways, and we also have to be critical, maybe not completely cynical about it or too afraid about it. They're tools that are quite useful, but also, of course, you need to be aware of the issues about the data usage, not cellular data, but your personal data, sorry, personal information, these things like that and so on. It's not just that these tools, but it goes hand in hand with digital literacy. Right? So these aspects have to go hand in hand, whether you interact with your children or your younger generation or and so on and so on. It can give you a better understanding of what's really going on. But yeah, and one more thing is that we are researchers, and one day or another we might meet. I just saw one person here I met once in Kailicha. Hi, do you remember me? Sorry, see, this is a very small world. I remember that we had a short visit to some farmers that use lands in schools, and he was our host there. He gave us a tour in his garden to tell us how they do things. So we are researchers, but we have to do things according to design thing in a way that's going to be useful to you. So thank you for hosting us the other day. I wouldn't stop without mentioning it because I saw his face. But yes, thank you.
Okay, just very quick. I think he touched on it, but I want to make it more emphatic that when you use these tools, make sure that you are careful in terms of your personal, private information. Don't just put everything about you, because these tools keep that information. It might come up in somebody's prompt for his own chat GPT. So make sure that you keep your privacy. Secondly, but finally, is that these tools, they can also lie. They say they hallucinate. They will not tell you many times that, okay, now they added a feature to say, no, do not believe everything that I speak, but everything that it produces, you need to check it again and make sure that it agrees with what you know, because you might be more knowledgeable than it. Thank you.
Thank you. On your earlier points, I used to lecture strategy at the Stellenbosch Business School, and after a while, I'd go to the dean of the MBA, and I'm like, Dean, I don't know, man. I'm not sure if I'm having an impact here. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm teaching business people strategy, and you know, the lights are on, but there's no one home. You know, it's just glazed kind of thing, and I'm feeling like I could use my time elsewhere better. And he said something that was profound to me, and I can see it's an academic thing because you've alluded to it. And he said to me, Miles, when the student is ready, the teacher shall appear. So don't think you are trying to teach everybody. You are teaching the one who's going to take whatever lesson they want to take from what you've said. So, and I'm hoping that's the essence of today. But I did see a final question before we go to lunch. There's just one more. But gentlemen, academics, let's keep it very, very brief to the point, assemblée. Thank you.
Apologies.
And to the question, brief as well.
Keep it as brief as possible. I'm Anthony Hurd. I'm from the University of California, Merced, visiting here. And at the university, it's the AgTech hub and so on and so forth. We just moved into computer vision modeling for food quality as well, and I'm the lead on that at the moment. And so my question was technical, but making it more brief, I would like to get into the problem you said of with the food quality, you aren't able to track it at all of its stages. So how are you planning to mitigate that going forward to be able to track the quality of the food and the stage right after harvest, after preservatives, on shelves? I'll keep it at that for now.
Thanks. So we basically use the network. So there are many ways. So the sensors, they communicate via a network. It could be a cellular network. It could be the other type of networks, like this popular network they like to use in IoT, LoRaWAN, and basically, so as you move along, or you place sensors maybe at the farm, or you can place sensors in a pack house, you can place sensors on the trucks, you can place sensors, but they all communicate to the same database. So all the database you get, the data you get, all from the beginning to the end, is just sending to the same database because it's on a network. That's how you track it.
Apparently, I've got time for one last one. Yes, ma'am. Answer. Okay, last two, like last two. And then it's lunch. Yay! Yeah, it's coming. The mic is coming. So just remember, you are standing between them and lunch.
Thank you so much. Do you have any research stories or insights on how applying artificial intelligence systems affect the agricultural labor force?
Agricultural labor force.
Not to the best of my knowledge currently, but I think it's something that somebody can take up as a study. Maybe would be nice to kind of like do some proper delimitation for it. If it is South Africa, I think it's something that would be an interesting study for those of our colleagues who are in that kind of space. Yeah, thank you.
I think what's going to happen there, if I may throw in my 2 cents, would be, and you're starting to see it now, what's happened with the US, with the trade, tariffs and stuff, and the ICE, the immigration. You know, crises tend to fast track certain things, and it will be a confluence of 2 things coming together. What's happening with the US making it difficult for immigrants to come and work across the border as low-income laborers in the farms, it's going to increase, it's going to create a massive demand for labor, which they can't fill with humans. And then that's going to speed up the robotics side. And it's been happening in things like distribution, in factories. Amazon, I think, has gotten rid of 8,000 people that used to work in factories. Now it's all robotics, and it's exponential, right? But because now humanoids are coming online, and you put AI on top of that, and they work 24/7, you know. My contention should be that they should pay tax, but that's another discussion, right? But I think that's what's going to, in 24 months or 36 months, is something we really need to look at, because it would be an unintended consequence that's actually going to be making US farmers competitive unintentionally over time. Yeah, please.
I think my concern is in South Africa, we do not have a problem with labor.
We don't have what?
We don't have a problem with labor on farms. It's a big employment. That's a lot of our people.
It's a natural resource.
It's a natural resource. Are our laborers being skilled up to work with AI? Are their jobs at risk?
I think as of now, what I can say is that for countries, many countries in the global south, it's like what has drawn us to AI is actually generative AI. ChatGPT, mainly. And some people, when they talk about AI, is ChatGPT. So that one, as of now, is mainly on the desktop, on the computer. There you interact with it, and there life goes. But when AI will be a threat really to labor, because ChatGPT cannot go and do the harvesting. Yet it cannot go and do the farming, the cultivation of the ground. But the major threat in that area will be when you have things like robotics, unmanned aerial vehicles, drones becoming very commonplace. There now, we will have a threat. And I can just say that for me, he talks about them paying tax, but I feel like maybe it should be more about those companies that use these robotics at that stage, maybe to contribute more to the social security and all that, so that there should be money to take care of these people that will become jobless. The problem that we have is different from those developed countries where the population is actually shrinking because Japan has been investing in robotics for many years, and it's not a problem because it's an aging population, and the young people are not there to work, so they can have these robots do the work while old people are just sleeping at home. So, but for us, we will have this problem.
But also the other thing you need to start thinking of is like we're thinking of it linearly. Like, you know, this robot is going to come, less people over time. But it doesn't work that way. It's gradual until it's sudden, right? And what's going to happen is that the developed countries are going to change how we farm. Right now, it's very mechanized. They've got these big industrial aggregators and stuff. But that was built for the human, and then the machine came along. Once you start having AI and humanoids, you might actually think of farming differently. Maybe we start farming in buildings as opposed to open spaces, because that is more practical for the robotics to do that. So don't think of it the way you know it. Think of it left field. Like, what is the most left field way that society could change, right? But with that being said, there's also positives, right? So maybe now we have more time to work on cancer research and all sorts of other things that needs our focus area. But yeah, I'm trying to be positive. Doing well, I hope. Oh, there was final question and then lunch. I promise.
Thanks. My question is related to your reference in your presentation to sustainable agricultural practices and the use of AI and technology in that. And just to preface the question a bit quickly, reference was also made to the WEF, the Water, Energy and Food Nexus. And research shows that the WEF Nexus is being put forward as a sustainable pathway to food security. So my question is, what is being done at the moment to assist particularly small-scale subsistence farmers to firstly better understand the WEF Nexus concept, and then its improved application to assist them to improve their own farming methods, and as a consequence strengthen food security? Thanks.
That is from the AI perspective. I haven't found anything in that direction. Yeah, maybe Frederic.
Yeah, but I think I can say that really most of these efforts are really at early stage, especially on the African context. But suffice to say that that's why I think, okay, there are already interactions between academics, researchers and so on, and farmers. It does exist. But sometimes it helps when actually people accept to steer their research in the direction that is directly linked to what the farmers are doing or want to achieve. So what you put up there, I think maybe for me it feels like it's something actually one we should probably explore with the Center of Food Security and see what are the possibilities. But what has been done so far, I'm not really aware of anything like that. But I do support actually the idea of co-creating with the people in the area, in the food system area, the farmers themselves, and catering the solutions to their needs. I support that.
Cool. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your insights and knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give them a nice warm round of applause. Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate you. Thanks. They did mention that the slides are going to be available, so I saw a lot of people taking pictures, you know. The cool part with the slides, you just upload them to Notebook LM, and you just get these two AI guys who are digital AIs, and they will talk back those slides on your behalf. Anybody know Notebook LM? Just don't, you don't count. Good. Wait, I'm being serious. Does anybody know what Notebook LM is? Okay, 3 people. Okay, guys. Notebook LM. That's all you type on your Google search bar. When you need there's a big research paper or whatever. This is what I do at 3 a.m. when I can't fall asleep, which is every day, sadly. You put up a big research article on whatever topic, whatever you're interested in. You know those big 148 pages, or maybe it's a policy, whatever, but you can't be bothered to read 148. You just upload it. It's free, okay? And then it creates that document into like a podcast and chill kind of vibe. This guy and a lady, they will talk about the document, and you can just listen to it like a podcast. It is the coolest thing ever. And it's already a year old. I'm just saying, you know, we need to, you're hearing me, right? Huh? So, okay, because now I know my audience, ne? What I'm going to do for the rest of today, I'm going to drop these bombs, ne? Because I hate people taking notes, because honestly, who's ever going to read those notes? I've written notes in so many conferences, I've never gone back once to read those notes, right? So we're going to take those notes and convert them into take actions. So from taking notes to taking action. So just make bullet points like this. And at the end of today, I'm going to hope to drop 5 pearls. Just boom, boom, boom. That you're just going to go try. Practical. Like it's not a story. You're just going to write notebook LM and you go check it out. Cool? I feel like then I'm giving. You know, we're having a reciprocal relationship, right? Okay, speaking of giving, in the spirit of giving, I see lunch is ready downstairs. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's go have lunch. We'll be back at 2 on the dot. Enjoy.